In law school, you spent 3 years dissecting pristine appellate cases where facts are neatly packaged. In practice, a distressed client sits across from you and dumps a chaotic reality of grievances, emails, and emotional baggage onto your desk. To bridge the gap between that raw emotion and a structured legal argument, you need an operational tool. We use the 6-step case analysis framework to cut through the noise and build what we call the critical path. This framework is a filtering mechanism. By the time you finish these 6 steps, you have the specific structural foundation required to draft a formal legal notice or deliver an airtight opening argument. You need 2 things to start: the raw, messy client interview transcript and a completely blank document. Knowing the black-letter law is only the baseline requirement. A lawyer earns their fee by systematically filtering human chaos into an actionable strategy. Step 1 is framing the issue. Early on, you must define the case broadly. If you frame the dispute too narrowly right out of the gate, you risk prematurely excluding evidence or cutting off alternative paths to victory. To isolate the core conflict, strip away the surrounding context until you are left with a single, neutral question. Always start this sentence with the word whether. For example, whether a valid contract was formed between the 2 parties. Now that we have our broad issue, we move to step 2, identifying the facts. This is where we transition from the overarching question down to a strict chronological timeline of events. To build this timeline, apply Occam's razor. Keep it simple. You must physically slice out the legally irrelevant, emotionally charged details. A client's anger or a neighbor's rude tone has no place here. You need a clean, sequential list of what happened. Once you have that list, do the math. You must verify baseline dates, check the subtotals on invoices, and cross-reference the physical evidence before accepting the client's version of the truth. Do not build a strategy on an unverified assumption. An unverified emotional narrative is a liability. A verified, neutral timeline is the only safe foundation from which to build a winning case. With a neutral timeline established, we move to step 3, starting the hours spin cycle. Here, we map a distinct before and after picture onto our neutral facts to establish how an event disrupted the client's life. This is where you inject an ethic of care into the strategy. Ask yourself what a normal person would do in this situation, and phrase the facts to build credible empathy for your client's actions. We immediately counter this in step 4, spinning the opposite way. You must step into the opponent's shoes and actively construct the theirs spin cycle. Pay close attention to the vocabulary. Notice how shifting a single word or introducing a negative framing rewrites the critical path. Constructing a credible story for the opposition forces you to acknowledge reality. It is the only reliable method for exposing your own structural blind spots. Step 5 is rephrasing the elements. Take the distinct parts of your chosen spin cycle and unify them under one overarching headline. Starting with this phrase ensures the audience views the dispute through your chosen lens. Use the bold text, "This case is about," and fill in the blank with your central theme. Finally, we reach step 6, preparing the opposition case. We transition our focus directly to the vulnerabilities we expose during the dual spin cycle. Every case has an Achilles heel. Find the single, specific node in your critical path that the opponent must break to win their case. To protect this vulnerability, we use a tactic called inoculation. You introduce the opponent's theory fairly, but within the safety of your own narrative context. By addressing the weakness openly, you neutralize its impact without sounding defensive. A bulletproof theme advances your facts while preemptively defanging the opponent's best attack before they can ever make it. Look at the fully synthesized case analysis framework. You have the broad whether question at the top, your unifying "this case is about" theme setting the tone, and a verified 3-column comparison table mapping out every move and countermove. This completed document has successfully filtered out the noise. You are left with a targeted, distraction-free critical path. The immediate next step is implementation. You use this exact document as the structural skeleton for drafting a formal legal notice. Map your verified facts, your specific cause of action, and your demanded relief directly from this framework onto the page. Doing so ensures no essential legal elements are missed, and every claim is fully supported. Mastering this translation process turns a messy grievance into a strategic, calculated demand.